sis, if God put it on your heart to do the prayer board, then just do it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink about it. Don't be up here saying, well, oh, I'm going to do it and push it off to next week. No. If God put it on your heart to do this prayer board, then just do it. I promise you, you would thank me later. Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lisa, and today we are talking about prayer boards. Yeah. And so I'm gonna go through and show you guys how I created this prayer board. I'm actually gonna go through and also read just a few of the Bible verses that I put on the outside of my envelopes, and then I will just tell you guys like where I got these supplies from and everything. Now, first, I do want to start off by saying like I struggled with the idea of creating this prayer board. Like for probably about a month, I was very indecisive. It's like I wanted to do one, but I felt like, well, oh, I already did a vision board, so they kind of are the same things. And no, doing a vision board and doing a prayer board is two totally different things. Now, you can put pictures on your prayer board and kind of mix them in together, but your vision board be just a little bit more materialistic when you think about it, because it's about things and a lifestyle that you want to live. Where on the other hand, your prayer board is basically touching you on a spiritual level, versus your vision board is kind of touching you on a visual level of like the materialistic side of life that you want. So I definitely say do the prayer board. And I'll just give you a little backstory on what happened, how everything kind of played out with me doing mine. Because I had made up my mind that I wasn't going to do one. And then I got invited to a prayer board party. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, God. So I get the supplies and everything, and I'm super excited. Okay, so the party got postponed 1 week later. It got pushed back. Okay, cool. That's fine. Then the weekend that it was planned to do it, it snowed. Like, you guys, I stay in Memphis. Like, we're not prepared for the snow. And these recent past years, it's been snowing in February. So it's a snow right now in January. I was just like, really? Like, really? So I kept going back and forth with myself all day. Like, is that my sign not to do it? And I'm like, well, I already brought the stuff, so should I still do it? Like, I was very indecisive on the whole thing. But at about 9 o'clock, God spoke to me and was like, if you don't get your butt off that couch and do this prayer board, like, we didn't come all the way this far for you to half short me and not do the prayer board because your plans didn't work out for you. I was like, okay, I hear you. So I got up about 9 o'clock that night and started doing my prayer board. And I literally didn't finish until a little bit after 12 a.m. But it was so worth it. It was so worth it, because it was almost like the vision that I had for me doing my prayer board, God had a totally different vision for me. And I feel like I still got everything out of it that I needed out of it, probably more than I even expected, because it was like me doing something one-on-one where it was just me and him and our time together. And he's kind of leading me in the direction of me to do the prayer board. So I'll jump right into the things that you can, buy to do the prayer board. Some of this stuff you might already have at home. If you have it at home, I'll say don't use that. Don't buy nothing else. Because basically with my prayer board and the ones that I have been seeing, you'll get one of these cork boards or use a poster board. Like, we're not even going to be that anal about the stuff. Like, just use what you have so that you can get the prayer board done. So I had envelopes, and you might have envelopes at home already, but I got these from Walmart. I got the board from Walmart. I got these letters from Dollar Tree. I got the actual pens. I got them from Dollar Tree as well. And I also got the index cards. I got these index cards from Dollar Tree and Walmart. So I don't know which ones I used, because I had extra because I was going to the party. So I just wanted to make sure I had like more than enough just in case if other people needed to use some index cards. So that's basically where I got all my supplies from. With these words from Dollar Tree, I actually got 2 packs. One was pink and green, and then one was like this silver and blue color. So they had like different colors inside of the packs. So that worked out perfectly. And that was it. Like I said, it was really easy to get these supplies. Like I wasn't running around all town trying to get something that was very aesthetically pleasing. I just wanted to grab the stuff that I knew I needed so that when the party came, I could just get started and do whatever God led me to do, basically. So this is the stuff that I got. And then I just want to kind of show you guys how I set this up, because at first I really didn't know if I wanted to do envelopes all across the board of different categories, or did if I want to do one side envelopes, one side Bible verses. So I kind of went back and forth with myself, and then I was like, okay, so what do I even want to put on the envelopes? And it was like, okay, so what prayers do you have that you know that you have that you want to communicate with God about? And that's kind of how I came up with what I wanted to put on my envelopes. And so I was like, I'm just going to keep it to 6 envelopes, which one envelope is a answer prayers. And as you guys see, I have Bible verses on each of the envelopes. So basically I went through and found Bible verses that I felt like they resonated with me, depending on the category that I picked. And so I'll read 2 of them off to you guys so you guys can see. So on this first envelope I did myself, and then on myself I got Jeremiah 29:11. So for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and to not harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. So I put that prayer down for myself because it's just one of the things that I have to remind me that God has a plan for me. And God's plan is to prosper me and not to harm me, and to bring me hope for my life, my future, and everything. So I really felt like that connected with me, because sometimes with with us being in the world that we live in today, we can kind of get so sidetracked by all the things that's going on in the world. And I feel like this is a good way for me to reflect back on the promises that God already has for me. My other, I'll read out faith. So I wrote out faith, and I used Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Now, this, whew, baby, this right here, that read like that did something to my soul. Like when I read that, I was like, I need this verse like with me all the time, because sometimes, especially when I don't understand stuff, and if I'm worrying about something, I think I always think of, like, I'm thinking in my flesh at that moment, instead of thinking back to, like, God got me. Like, it's not my understanding, it's leaning on his understanding. And so the stuff that I be like, oh, well, this didn't happen this way, and did, like, just like the prayer board, I could have got so worked up about it not happening the way that I thought it should have played out. And I would have missed out on creating this wonderful board. I would have missed out on that moment that I had with God creating this board. So it really just touched my soul when I ran across some of these verses, because I related so much with them. And I was like, these verses have to go on the outside of my envelopes. Okay, so I already wrote my prayers down, and I put them in the inside of these envelopes. And so, of course, that's something that I would say, keep to yourself. Do not share that with anybody besides God. Like, don't share it with nobody else, because those are your prayers between you and him. And it's not really made for anybody else for them to see that. Now you can share the stuff that you put on the outside, those Bible verses, because somebody else might relate to it. That's why I don't mind reading these out, because it might be something that you guys see in the middle of making your prayer board. You're like, oh, I really relate to that. Or it might be a verse that you're like, oh, let me write this verse down and look into. So I don't have a problem with people sharing the verses that they found, because I feel like the reason why I put these verses on the outside of this envelope is that I can always go back and reflect on this. Even if I don't open up the prayer that I wrote in here, reading the verse on the outside, I already know exactly what prayer I put in the inside. So I'm gonna read the one about the answer prayers. So on that one, I did Mark 11:24, and that one says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. baby, that this is from God's mouth himself. This is from the Bible, okay? So whatever you ask for in prayer, you have to believe that it is yours. And God said you'll receive it. That's all I need to know. Drop mic. Like when I ran across this prayer, I said, I need this prayer for my answer prayers, because sometimes I think, and it was one thing in church too, before I get into that, we talked about in church on that Sunday about praying and about, praying not just one time about it, but basically being very, persistent in praying over and over again, because you're basically coming to God and you're seeking him and you're waiting on his answer. So that was a big eye opener for me. But for me to already know that these prayers are already answered, as long as I believe in them, then they are granted to me, baby. This gave me chills, like for real, for real. So this is how I did this side of the prayer board. And so I definitely say, go through Google, go through Pinterest, find verses that relate to you. And all you have to do, like I think on some of mine, I typed in, I can give you an example. So if you're on Google, you can say like what's a good prayer, a good Bible verse for worrying, for not worrying? What's a good Bible verse for faith? What's a good Bible verse for family? Like those are the kind of words you would want to put in there. And then once they pull up the search, you can either do this on Google or Pinterest. I want you to actually look in your Bible, because you just need to verify that what the internet is giving you is legit, because it is the internet. And I'm not saying that people are putting wrong Bible verses up, but I'm just saying it's good for you to reflect. It's good for you to verify in your own Bible, just to make sure, because I have an NIV version, and sometimes, some of those verses that you run across, it could be from a different translation, and so you might not find the exact words in your Bible. And so it's really just up to you if you want to use it or not. Because I verified all the verses that I found. If I didn't already have them, I did verify them against my Bible. And I wrote down what was in my Bible for that verse. Now, on this other end of my prayer board, this is basically where I took index cards. And on these index cards, I put topics on them. So let me see. I put topics on them. So like the first topic is worrying, and the second topic is lazy, like being lazy. And I pretty much found Bible verses for each topic, just to remind me of, why I shouldn't worry, why not to be lazy. So that's what I did on this side. It's just I wanted to put Bible verses on this side, just for any of the days that I'm not really feeling it. I can go back, and even though I can reflect to these right here, but I can reflect to a couple Bible verses that I might need in that moment. And so I actually left, I don't know if you guys can see, I left these two blank at the bottom. And I left those blank on purpose. And the reason why I left them blank is because right now I am in a journey of learning God for myself, feeling him in my own presence, and I am reading the Bible, and I'm having Bible study weekly. And so I left that blank, so just in case if I run into another Bible verse or anything that I really need at that moment, and I feel like I need to add it to my board, I wanted to have a spot on there where I could add it. I also, when I was in Dollar Tree, let me show you guys. I also brought this little notebook. So this little notebook, I said that I'm going to use to put Bible verses in, because right now, like I'm in the process of learning the Bible for myself and reading it for myself. I have never really read it. And so since I'm in the process of doing that, I feel like the verses that really stuck with me, like for that read, I'm gonna put them down in here. And so that way, this little thing, I can just drop this down in my tote bag or in my backpack or with my iPad, so I can have something that's always with me if I ever need to reflect on anything. If I need to reflect for me, if I need to reflect for somebody else, I would have this with me. And that's something that I definitely need right now, since I'm in my journey of reading the Bible. And because like ever since I had my son, like I think I still got mommy brain or something. Like I can read something, and then in the next 2 days, I don't know what I read. But if you ask me that same day, I can tell you everything. But if you ask me 2 days later, I might be hemming and humming a little bit. So this right here, I feel like will help me out a lot. as far as when I ever want to revert back to any Bible verses that I really need in that moment or that really touched me in that moment. So this is just another thing if you want to buy, just in case if you have like more Bible verses than you can fit on your prayer board, you can put it in that book. And that's really it when it comes to making these prayer boards. You know, I feel like in that moment, I feel like really think about it. Don't rush it, but really think about what you want your prayer board to be set up as. Decide, and also you can decide what categories you want. And I would say this, like for my family category, I also got on my prayers, I mentioned my friends in there as well. So don't feel like you gotta have all these envelopes for all these different people and all these different things. No, you can have main categories and you could put multiple index cards in there with prayers in there, you know, because this is just your conversation with God. This really does, nobody else is gonna read these prayers. These prayers are between you and God. So I would just say set it up the way that you want it, you know, and just be very confident in the way that you did it. I am excited how this came out. Like I didn't know what to expect, but once I started putting it together and once I started going through everything, like by the time I got done, my face was hurting. Like I was cheesing all night when I was doing this. So once again, do not hesitate. If God is putting this on your heart to do it, do it. Like you would really learn something from this. The experience alone, and I'm so grateful for. So just do it. Do it unprepared. Do it scared. Like, girl, just do it. So if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comment section below. I am going to add like little Amazon links just in case if you guys, you know, don't want to go to the store or if you're snowed in like how I am. That way you could just order it. And so when you get it, you'll be able to set it up. But until next time, see y'all later. Bye.